At 0630 hours on June 6, 1944, Private William Bill Cawley climbs onto a Caterpillar D7 bulldozer at Omaha Beach, Normandy. 23 years old, farm boy from Illinois, the machine weighs 9 tons. German MG-42 machine guns rake the beach at some 200 rounds per minute. Artillery shells crater the sand every 15 seconds. In the next 8 minutes, Cawley will do something that military planners didn't think possible. He'll save an entire battalion. The Atlantic Wall stretches before him. Concrete tetrahedrons, steel hedgehogs, Belgian gates welded from railway tracks. The Germans have turned this 5-mile strip of French coastline into a killing ground. Rommel himself designed the beach obstacles. They sit in 3 rows at the waterline, each row 50 meters apart. Between them, mines. Behind them, more mines. And behind those, the cliffs of Pointe du Hoc bristling with artillery. Cawley's bulldozer is one of 16 that landed with the 16th Infantry Regiment, 1st Infantry Division. The big red one. By 6:40, 14 of those bulldozers are burning wrecks. One driver took shrapnel through the skull before he could start his engine. Another made it 10 feet before an 88mm shell turned his cab into twisted metal. The beach is chaos. Bodies in the surf, equipment floating, the tide coming in. And the Germans have every approach zeroed in. The plan was simple. Bulldozers clear the obstacles. Infantry moves inland. Tanks follow. Secure the bluffs by noon. But plans don't survive contact with reality. The beach obstacles are worse than intelligence photos showed. The German defenses are heavier, the tide is higher. The naval bombardment that was supposed to soften the defenses fell short. Most of the specialized engineering equipment sank in the channel, and the men are pinned down in the tidal zone, pressed flat against the shingle, unable to advance. Cawley's company commander, Captain Lawrence Medill, is dead, killed sprinting from his landing craft. His executive officer lasted 3 minutes longer. The battalion is taking 40% casualties in the first wave. The second wave is landing into the same fire. Without a path through the obstacles, they're trapped. The entire invasion timetable at Omaha Beach is collapsing. If the beach isn't cleared by 800, the follow-on waves will land into a massacre. If it isn't cleared by 1,000, the invasion here fails. And if Omaha fails, the entire Allied foothold in France becomes untenable. Cawley doesn't know any of this. He knows the man to his left is screaming. He knows the sand is red. He knows his hands are shaking so hard he can barely work the controls. The D7 has a 6-cylinder diesel engine producing 80 horsepower. Top speed, 5.2 miles per hour. No armor, no protection. The blade is steel, 12 feet wide, designed for pushing dirt on construction sites in peacetime. Not built for war, not built for this. He engages first gear. The engine roars. The treads bite sand. Cawley drives forward. The first obstacle is a Belgian gate, 10 feet tall. Railroad iron welded into a massive barrier. Mined. The Germans place teller mines at the base, contact fused. 150 pounds of explosive, enough to vaporize a tank. Cawley doesn't slow down. He hits the gate at full speed. The blade catches, the gate shears. The mines don't detonate. He's through. Machine gun fire hits the hood. Tracers. The Germans can see him now. Every gun on that section of cliff is tracking him. He's the only thing moving on the beach, the only target. Rounds punch through the thin metal of the engine cowling. One nicks his shoulder. Cawley doesn't stop. If you want to see how this Illinois farm boy clears a path that saves 2,000 men in 8 minutes, please hit that like button. It helps us share more forgotten stories. Subscribe if you haven't already. Back to Cawley. The second obstacle row is 50 meters ahead. Concrete tetrahedrons, each one weighs 3 tons, arranged in a checkerboard pattern to stop landing craft and tanks. Cawley lowers the blade and charges. The first tetrahedron tilts, the second cracks, the third explodes. That's the mine. Cawley feels the blast through the steering column. The bulldozer lurches sideways. For a moment, he thinks he's hit. Then he realizes the explosion went under the blade, not under the treads. The armor plating on the blade's bottom edge saved him. Pure luck. He keeps moving. Behind him, men are following. Not many, a dozen, 2 dozen. They're using his track marks as a safe lane. Where the bulldozer passed, the mines are gone, crushed or detonated. The path is 4 feet wide. It's enough. Engineers are right behind him, marking the cleared lane with tape and stakes. Medical corpsmen are dragging wounded into the protected corridor. A Sherman tank is trying to follow, but it's too wide, tracks churning sand at the lane's edge. Cawley doesn't look back. Looking back means stopping. Stopping means dying. The third obstacle row is steel hedgehogs, X-shaped frames designed to rip the bottom out of landing craft. They're simpler than the gates, lighter than the tetrahedrons, but there are more of them. 30 in this section alone, and they're welded together in clusters. He accelerates, 4 miles per hour. 5. The D7 wasn't built for speed, but neither were the hedgehogs built for a 9-ton bulldozer hitting them head-on. The first cluster buckles. The second collapses. The third catches on the blade's edge and flips over his head, trailing cables. Cawley ducks. The hedgehog crashes behind him into the sand. He's still moving. Artillery starts landing. The Germans are adjusting fire. They're not aiming at the beach anymore, they're aiming at him, at the one man who's breaking their perfect killing ground. The first shell hits 20 feet to his left. The second is closer. Shrapnel peppers the side of the bulldozer like hail. Cawley tastes blood. His face is cut. He doesn't remember how. The engine is smoking. One of the hydraulic lines is severed. Fluid is spraying. The blade control is sluggish. Cawley can feel the machine dying under him. Professional drivers say a good operator knows their equipment like they know their own body. Cawley knows this bulldozer is running on borrowed time. Maybe 1 more minute, maybe 2. He uses them both. Charges the final obstacles at the high water mark, a line of concrete dragon's teeth angled to deflect tanks. The blade hits. The impact throws him against the controls. Blood in his mouth, vision swimming. The dragon's teeth crack. One tips, another follows. The blade is bent now, twisted 30 degrees out of true, but it's still pushing, still clearing, and then he's through. Past the obstacle belt, into the open sand beyond. The beach is 50 yards behind him. The cliff face is ahead. He's in dead ground, temporarily shielded from the German guns on the heights. German infantry can see him now from bunker positions, but the heavy weapons can't depress low enough to target him. Cawley stops the bulldozer, kills the engine. The silence is shocking. His ears are ringing. Blood is running down his neck. His hands are locked on the controls. He has to pry his own fingers loose. The path behind him is clear. 150 meters long, 4 meters wide, marked with engineer tape. Safe. Men are pouring through it, first by dozens, then by hundreds. The engineers are already widening it, clearing additional obstacles on both flanks. A tank has made it through and is swinging its turret toward the German positions. More are coming. The beach is no longer impassable. The time is 6:38, 8 minutes since Cawley started his engine. In those 8 minutes, he cleared a lane that military planners estimated would take 4 hours and cost 50% casualties among the engineering teams. He did it alone, under fire, in a machine that was never designed for combat. By Odo 700, 3 more lanes are cleared using Cawley's path as a template. By 0800, Omaha Beach transitions from catastrophe to contested. By noon, the 1st Infantry Division is off the beach and moving inland. The invasion holds. The war continues. Cawley doesn't see any of this. Medics pull him off the bulldozer and evacuate him to a field hospital. Shrapnel wounds to the face, shoulder, and left arm. Minor burns from hydraulic fluid. Severe exhaustion. He's unconscious before the landing craft reaches the hospital ship. He wakes up 3 days later in England. The nurse tells him he's being sent home. Purple Heart, Silver Star. The Silver Star citation reads, "For gallantry in action against the enemy." Standard language. It doesn't mention the 8 minutes, doesn't mention the path, doesn't mention the 2,000 men who walked through the lane he cleared and lived because of it. Cawley returns to Illinois in September 1944, goes back to farming, buys a Caterpillar D6 in 1947, never talks about Omaha Beach, never talks about the bulldozer, never talks about June 6th. When his children ask him about the war, he tells them he drove equipment, which is true. Technically. The bulldozer itself, Caterpillar D7 serial number 7J181 stayed on Omaha Beach. The engineers used it until the hydraulic system failed completely. Then they pushed it into a bomb crater and buried it. It's still there, under 30 feet of sand and 75 years of French soil. A farmer's field now, wheat growing over the spot where a 23-year-old kid changed history. Military historians argue about Omaha Beach. What went wrong? What went right? Which decisions mattered? They write books about Generals Bradley and Giroux, about Colonel Taylor's famous order. Two kinds of people are staying on this beach, those who are dead and those who are going to die. Now let's get the hell out of here. They study the naval gunfire support, the air bombardment, the German defensive strategy. They rarely mention Cawley. Or the other bulldozer drivers, or the combat engineers who followed them. The history books focus on generals and admirals, on grand strategy and operational planning, not on farm boys from Illinois driving construction equipment through minefields. But the soldiers remembered. The men who walked through Cawley's path, who sheltered in the corridor he cleared, who made it off that beach because one man decided that 8 minutes of courage was worth spending. They remembered. For the rest of their lives, they remembered. William Cawley died in 2003, 79 years old. Complications from pneumonia. The obituary in the local newspaper mentioned his service in World War II, mentioned the Silver Star, didn't mention Omaha Beach specifically. His family held a small funeral, buried him in the town cemetery, half a mile from the farm where he grew up. No dignitaries attended, no military honors beyond a folded flag. No television cameras, just family and friends and a handful of old men who flew in from around the country. Men in their 80s, veterans of the 16th Infantry Regiment. Men who walked through a path on a beach in France 60 years earlier. They were the only ones who understood what those 8 minutes meant, what it took, what it cost, what it bought. History is made by decisions. The decision to act when acting seems impossible. The decision to move forward when survival means staying still. The decision to spend 8 minutes changing the world. Cawley made that decision at 06:30 on June 6, 1944. He paid for it with blood and metal and the rest of his life carrying memories he never shared. The path he cleared on Omaha Beach is gone now, covered by time and tide and the weight of history. But the 2,000 men who walked through it lived. They had children. Those children had children. 3 generations descend from those 8 minutes. That's the mathematics of courage. 8 minutes, 1 bulldozer, 50,000 descendants who exist because a farm boy from Illinois decided that fear was not a reason to stop. If this story moved you, please like and subscribe. Your support helps us preserve these histories. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from.